Hey everyone! So today I wanted to show you an alternative version to throwing a plate on the wheel. Something that I learned from another potter that I pretty much exclusively use now while I'm throwing a plate on the wheel. So starting out, we're going to do our steps pretty similar. We're going to center. Here I'm just coning up and coning down to help stretch out that clay and get it flexible, get it ready to go. Once I feel like I've got that clay centered, I still want to aim for that gumdrop shape, and I may even go a little bit more plateaued than I typically would if I was throwing my typical cylinder. But I'm still close to that gumdrop shape, just a little bit flatter on top or a little bit more plateaued. And I can do that just with my thumb or my finger. Don't need to go too crazy flat, but just want to get it there. So that's perfect. Now the next step, and this is what changes, is my open stage. Instead of using my hand, which I did in the first plate throwing demo video, I'm going to use a rolling pin. Now the key here is that you've got to maintain moisture on both your clay and the rolling pin, otherwise it's going to stick. You're going to compress the rolling pin down, having your elbows on your knees, both hands on the pin, not on the handles of the pin, otherwise the pin's just going to spin and it's going to mess up your clay. You want it on the actual rolling part of it. And I'm going to be continually adding water to that rolling pin. Now the key with this stage is to try to have even pressure and to keep that rolling pin as level as you can. And you'll see, and it might take a time or two of doing this, but you'll see if I'm leaning one way or the other, my plate's not going to be even, it's not going to be level. But it actually is, it's pretty simple and straightforward and easy to get it level and to maintain that. So I'm just going to keep compressing that clay down until I'm about, I'd say about 3/8, maybe even a ½ inch, about ½ inch from the wheel head. Depending on how much clay you started with is going to dictate how big of a plate that you're going to be able to throw. So now I've got it down. Now I'm going to work on, I want to pull up the edges. And you noticed me just using a caliper. I'm actually making a plate right now it's a drainage plate for a planter. So I want it to be a certain size. So I'm using that caliper to mark where I want the base of the plate to go and then where I want my walls to start coming up. So you can see I marked just a simple little circle in there, and that's where I'm going to bring up the edges. So this is my pulling stage where I'm going to pull my walls. To start this, I'm just sticking my finger under one edge, and you can see it brings up that rim. It's pretty simple. I'm smoothing out the rim a little bit. I'm just compressing that rim with my finger, and then I'm giving a little more depth, and this is all just with fingertips here. So it's delicate finger, and then I can come in with fingertips and actually do a pull to get more height or width if you want a little bit wider on your plate. So at this stage, I'm happy with my plate. It's good size. I like the wall height. Now I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup. I'm compressing that rim, just slightly pinching with fingertips. Going to use a sponge to clean up that middle or inside. This is something, using the rolling pin, I like a little bit better than the hands because you get away from those rivets you would oftentimes get because of your hand. And you notice I didn't even have to use a rib on this plate. That's how flat that rolling pin got it. Sometimes I'll use a rib, but especially for a drainage plate, not necessary. Now I'm trimming my skirt. I'm using a wooden tool, and I'm just cleaning up that edge, making it look nice. A couple key things to remember if you're using the rolling pin method to throw your plate. The biggest thing is moisture. You want to continue to have water each time you compress that clay. Add water to the pin, add water to your clay. That's going to help keep it smooth and that you're rolling forward. Done a little cleanup. The nice thing about doing it on a bat board is that I can just run my wire underneath. I pull off the bat board, and that's what I'm going to let it dry on so it stays flat.